Former offensive lineman Joe Andruzzi knows all about avoiding or moving obstacles on the football field. For nearly a decade, his job was to clear paths for others. But in May 2007, Andruzzi was faced with a most unexpected obstacle off the field, and his life's journey took a terrible detour.
During his NFL career, Joe Andruzzi was a mainstay on New England's offensive line, helping the Patriots win 3 Super Bowls.
I've been there. It's a great feeling to go out there and be able to hold that Lombardi trophy and know what you've done for the year.
As great as winning the Super Bowl was, touching a young boy's life would mean so much more. Through a mutual friend, Andruzzi learned of C.J. Buckley, a 16-year-old boy who was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor in 2001. Andruzzi made arrangements to meet C.J. and his family at Patriots training camp.
Here was an NFL player who didn't know us at all and who literally embraced us at the beginning and wanted to do something for C.J. After the session, we were introduced to Joe, and he brought with him a huge number of players to meet and greet C.J.
A couple of days later, there was a telephone call, and he said, you know, I'm in town and I have a couple of hours. Can I come over and see C.J.? It just evolved from that. Within a few days, they invited us for a cookout here at the house.
Great family. From then on, it became a close relationship. CJ was a great kid.
He lived 16 and a half months after the diagnosis. We were told that he would live only 3 months. I think part of that time was due to the relationship and love of the Andruzzi family.
The two families remained close, and in 2007, they were put to the test again.
Had a stomach ache, and just consistently bothered me, and the doctor told me to come in for a CAT scan. That afternoon, he called me and told me I had a large mass in or around my colon.
My phone rang, and he told me, and I was like, well, he couldn't even talk, that I could understand him at first.
Couldn't speak. I just asked her to come home.
Andruzzi was diagnosed with a rare and extremely aggressive form of cancer known as Burkitt's lymphoma.
Because it's Burkitt's, it can double its size within 24 hours. So treatment had to be started right away.
It reminded me of the day, if I think back, of 9/11, where you just sat on the couch because you didn't know what else to do, and you just sit there frozen.
The Andruzzi family knew that frozen feeling all too well. On September 11, 2001, one of Joe's 3 New York City firefighter brothers was on duty.
Joe Andruzzi's thoughts certainly involve his 3 brothers, Billy, Jimmy, and Mark, who are all here today, New York City firefighters, all honorary captains for today's game.
They're my heroes. Type of jobs where people are running out of burning buildings, and these guys are running in them. Through that whole tragedy, 9/11, what they had to go through day in and day out, I can never fathom. You just try and be there for them, and, you know, they were here for me.
So was the Buckley family.
When Joe was diagnosed, I can't even tell you what that did to us. How could this man, who helped our family so much, be stricken with something?
Lucy Buckley is a well-known pediatric cardiologist. With a recommendation from her and CJ's doctor, Andruzzi was able to find the best treatment.
Chemo takes a toll on you, and especially the protocol I was on. And it just ran my body to the ground. You just try and focus in on and pray, getting this poison in my body, it's, you know, gonna help me live.
Even if I was sleeping at the hospital because he had a high fever, and then driving home so the kids didn't know I was gone, every time you thought, it's all gonna be better.
She was my rock, and as much as she was with me, She was with them and trying to, teach them and tell them how we were doing.
His Patriot family also helped him through this trying time.
Players like Russ Hochstein, Dan Copen, Steve Neal went up to the hospital and donated blood for me.
Joe's one of the toughest guys I've ever been around. He probably has the greatest tolerance for pain of any player I've ever been around. His will to play is much greater than the pain he feels.
But his will to live was even stronger.
I'm 31 years old and I'm too young for this. Right away is, what do I gotta do to get better and watch my kids grow up?